Hi, I'm Erik Voss, and the Marvel Cinematic Universe revealed a new game changer for the Avengers in the form of the SKRULL, the race of alien shapeshifters who infiltrate the ranks of the US government by impersonating S.H.I.E.L.D. agents and Captain Marvel. But if you read the Marvel comics, you know that the SKRULL are potentially a much bigger deal than they appear to be in the Captain Marvel movie. Because in the Secret Invasion storyline, a number of known Marvel heroes are actually SKRULL imposters. The whole time! Now, in Captain Marvel, and spoiler warning if you haven't seen the movie yet, or if you're worried that I might accidentally predict something that happens in the future of Marvel, in this movie, the SKRULL are actually less bad than we thought they'd be. They are not the evil imposters hell-bent on taking over our planet. They're actually just weary refugees looking for a new homeworld away from the real bad guys, the imperialist Kree. It looks as though they don't even arrive to Earth until the events of this film. While looking for mar-vell's hidden lab in Earth's orbit, 4 of the SKRULL wash up on the beach. Their leader, Talos, his science guy, another one who impersonates Coulson during the chase, and a 4th SKRULL whom Carol chases on the train, aka the one who got away. Talos reunites with his family in the end. Science guy gets killed by Jan Rog. SKRULL son dies in the car crash and gets autopsied. But SKRULL number 4 remains a mystery. Could SKRULL number 4 have gone on to impersonate a character who we've known all this time, the whole time? Or thought that we've known the whole time? Could SKRULL number 4 ever join up with another independent group of SKRULL on Earth somewhere? An extremist terrorist group, kind of like the SKRULL's version of Ronin, who, unlike the friendlier Talos group, does seek to subvert humanity in a secret invasion type plot. This lingering mystery has launched a new investigation, because in my mind, you can't trust anyone. I plan to scrutinize each MCU figure one by one in a new series that we're calling SKRULL SEARCH! And for this first SKRULL search, let's direct our eye to the man who has taught us the most about who and who not to trust, Nick Fury. He got closer than most others to the SKRULL during the events of Captain Marvel. He's been around forever, and some of his choices in retrospect seem a little curious. So, is Nicholas Joseph Fury a SKRULL? Clue number 1. Potentially the biggest evidence for Fury perhaps being a SKRULL is this leaked concept art for Captain Marvel, showing a SKRULL turning into Nick Fury. A frame-by-frame transition, kind of like an Animorphs. So, did we get him? Is the SKRULL search over? We going home? Now, of course, these are not storyboards and doesn't confirm anything. All concept art for movies is merely drawn up by movie artists in early developmental stages to help the filmmakers get a sense of what the movie could look like. Other characters in the movie end up getting impersonated by a SKRULL, so it makes sense that they would want to consider what it would look like if it happened to Fury. Though it is interesting that the version of Fury that the SKRULL turns into in this concept art is the modern one, not the 90s look from Captain Marvel, which some are suggesting could mean that they wanted to consider Fury in the present day continuing to be a SKRULL in disguise. Then again, this art could have been drawn up so early in the process that the crew hadn't even locked down what 90s Fury would look like, so they used a more modern look of Fury that they had on file. Let's move on to clue number 2. Why didn't Fury page Captain Marvel for past emergencies? It's a question that we've been wondering about since Infinity War. Like, why did Fury wait for the apocalyptic attack of Thanos to ring her up, and not the events that seemed just as dire at the time? The Chitauri invasion, Hydra with the helicarriers, Ultron, the Dark Dimension opening up, mysterious alien goo nearly swallowing up Missouri? All of these events, if some hero somewhere didn't eke out a win, would have ended life on Earth as Fury knew it. Now, I just assumed the Captain Marvel movie would address this question, but all we got was a quick scene of Carol handing Fury back the pager and saying only for emergencies, or disappearing in space with the other SKRULL. So what, Fury, were those other near disasters not emergencies? The simple answer, though it's not perfect, is that maybe Fury trusted the Avengers to handle those other problems on their own. Kind of like a kid's basketball coach who rallies the kids to win the game on their own. Even though his best friend is Air Bud and he could get that golden retriever to show up and drop buckets all over these dopes. But that still wouldn't make sense for that goo in Missouri. Fury wouldn't have known what the hell was going on there, since it was an effect of the Guardians of the Galaxy's battle with Ego elsewhere across the universe. Of course, this emergency didn't last that long before it mysteriously stopped, but you gotta imagine that Fury would have had a similar reaction time that he had to Thanos' snap, and probably would have considered whipping out that pager. But the explanation that we're getting at is that Fury could have actually been a SKRULL. That at some point after the events of Captain Marvel, missing SKRULL number 4 shows up, copies Fury, and then takes his place. And then over the years takes steps to weaken Earth allow these emergencies to happen, all to avoid another imperialist empire like the Kree from evolving and posing a threat to his Skrull race. But Fury's longtime relationship with S.H.I.E.L.D. brings us to another interesting exchange between Fury and Cap and Winter Soldier.
Last time I trusted someone, I lost an eye.
No, not that one, but thank you for showing it. I'm talking about this one.
My wife kicked me out.
Didn't know you were married.
A lot of things you don't know about me.
Aha! And how does the scene end?
Don't trust anyone.
Yeah, that's right. Clue number 3, Fury totally died. After taking 3 shots through the chest, Fury flatlined on the operating table, with Cap and Black Widow, pretty sharp-eyed soldiers who have been around their fair share of corpses, convinced of his death. Of course, later in the movie, his death was revealed to have been faked, with Fury saying he slowed his heart using tetrodotoxin B, a serum developed by Bruce Banner to slow the heart rate to 1 beat per minute. Yeah, okay. I guess we're meant to believe this because notice the doctor who's caring for Fury. It's the same surgeon who called his death in the hospital, implying that this was all staged and that this surgeon and his whole team, probably several other members of the hospital staff, had all rehearsed faking Fury's death and totally kept their cool while being closely watched by 2 Avengers. And this doctor should stick out to you because this is a cameo by Joe freaking Russo, the co-director of Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. One of the 3 masterminds keeping all the secrets of the future of Marvel at this moment. If there is a deeper conspiracy here, of course this dude is gonna be present to help smooth it over. Imagine a scenario where missing Skrull number 4 does end up shapeshifting into Fury, but then doesn't kill the original Fury or keep him tied up somewhere, but that these 2 Furies end up working in tandem. Remember, this Skrull team is one that Fury ended up being friendly with at the end of Captain Marvel. And how many times has Fury suggested to keep eyes and ears open everywhere? What better way to do that than to have 2 of him? So let's say the death of Nick Fury was exactly what it looked like. The death of Nick Fury. This whole Dr. Russo tetrodotoxin explanation is just crazy enough to be a cover story for the real conspiracy, that the living Nick Fury we've seen over these past couple years is actually his Skrull duplicate carrying on his mission. And that would give new meaning to the moment Fury reveals himself to Alexander Pierce.
But if you want to stay ahead of me, Mr. Secretary, you need to keep both eyes open.
By both eyes, Skrull Fury could be referring to both Furies, each one with one eye open. And this Skrull Fury is furious with Pierce for killing the original eye. In my breakdown of Captain Marvel, I explained how Fury's lie about how he lost his eye, he said a Kree did it, not Goose the cat / Flurkin, and Fury's decision to keep it covered with an eye patch instead of a prosthetic eye could be a subtle move to defend himself from any potential Skrull imposter. Like if he keeps his eye covered, no Skrull would know from sight alone what the real wounded eye underneath looked like. This eye patch would have been Fury's one security check against his Skrull twin. So if this theory is true, he would have had to show his eye wound to the Skrull in his dying moments for that Skrull to be able to read his face and be able to copy it later. And who was the closest to Fury in that moment of his death? That's right, Dr. Joe Russo. This Skrull Search episode ain't just a case for why Nick Fury could be a Skrull, it's also a case against Joe Russo himself. I'm on to you, Russo. Now, there is even more evidence of Fury's Skrull-spiracy, but before I continue, thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring this video. You know how keeping things neat and tidy downstairs can feel a bit like Thor getting a haircut on Sakaar?
No!
Plus, it turns out that you should not use the same razor to trim your beard that you use to trim other places. Just kidding, I knew that, I promise. Manscaped.com is the only men's brand dedicated to below-the-waist grooming and hygiene, with tools created by a team of aerospace engineers who are actually featured on Shark Tank. This is the Lawnmower 2.0. It's a waterproof trimmer with a powerful 6,000 RPM motor. It has a replaceable ceramic blade head with skin-safe technology, meaning that you won't get nicked or snagged or totally castrated. It's a real concern with a lot of guys, very hairy guys. Manscaped.com lets you get a replacement blade delivered every 3 months to ensure the trimmer stays hygienic. And this perfect package 2.0 manscaping kit also comes with crop preserver moisturizing deodorant, crop reviver spray, crop cleaner shower gel, refined cologne, and magic matte disposable shaving mats with comics that you can read. This is pretty brilliant. Like if Marvel would print their comics on shaving mats, my nuts would look like a golf course. You should give Manscaped a shot. It's risk-free free, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, and here's a free gift for new Rockstars subscribers, the Shed Travel Bag. You can get 20% off plus free shipping, plus this free gift with the code Rockstars20 at manscaped.com. Okay, back to this next piece of evidence. A loose end from Avengers Age of Ultron. Clue number 4, Fury covered up a UFO. This is when Fury and Black Widow were looking for the Hulk who disappeared from Sokovia and the Quinjet.
One of our tech boys flagged this. Splashed down in the Banda Sea. Could be the Quinjet, but with Stark's stealth tech, we still can't track the damn thing. Probably jumped out and swam to Fiji.
So the odd thing is, Banner and the Quinjet didn't land in the Banda Sea near Indonesia. They ended up on Sakaar, the trash planet in Thor Ragnarok. So what was the unidentified object that Fury was referring to? It could be a lot of things, but one of the implications that I really liked from Captain Marvel is that UFO sightings of the 80s and 90s might have been Skrull related. Like remember, Talos' family and other Skrull refugees were hidden on Mar-vell's lab, cloaked in invisibility in Earth's orbit, but they still gotta eat. They must have made trips down to the surface for food and other toys for the kids, probably leading to some loon spotting them and telling Mulder and Scully about it. Now, those Skrull left at the end of Captain Marvel. But if Skrull/Fury was left alone on Earth, he could have been making contact with other Skrull visitors over the years. Like, we don't have proof that Fury was doing that, but we do know Fury spotted some UFO and never brought it up again. But when you watch Captain Marvel again, there's one more possible clue. When Nick Fury gets to know Carol in Poncho's bar, he tells her his full name, Nicholas Joseph Fury, saying everyone only ever calls him Fury. In fact, a few scenes later in the elevator, Talos calls Fury Nicholas, which is what tips off Fury that his boss is actually a Skrull in disguise. The fact that this red flag shoots up upon hearing his first name is interesting, because later, clue number 5, Fury goes by Nick and doesn't react. In the post-credit scene after Avengers Infinity War, notice the interaction with Maria Hill.
Multiple bogeys over Wakanda.
Same energy signature as New York?
10 times bigger.
Tell Klein we'll meet him
Nick!
Huh, how many Nicks was that?
Nick!
3 Nicks! Now, maybe Fury doesn't react because there's obviously bigger fish to fry in this moment. Or maybe this means Hill is a Skrull, like Talos was. Or maybe the Fury in the 90s, who once hated being called his first name, died in Winter Soldier, and has ever since been replaced by a Skrull imposter who doesn't mind Nick, or Nicholas, or Nikki one bit.
Not just taking down the carriers, Nick, we're taking down S.H.I.E.L.D.
Now, I can hear some of you in the comments shouting another possible clue at me, the toast! The toast! Yes, you're referring to the detail that Fury told Carol about that no one else knew about him, that he cannot eat toast if it's sliced diagonally. After Captain Marvel came out, some genius entertainment blogger got all horny because there's a scene in Age of Ultron in which Fury makes a sandwich and dozens of idiots started posting headlines claiming Fury cut that sandwich diagonally. But I gotta debunk this. You're all wrong.
Wrong, sir. Wrong.
Not only is Fury not eating a sandwich or even toast, he's just eating raw sliced bread like a weirdo. If you actually look at this footage, the shading and visible surfaces on that piece of bread clearly indicate 4 sides of a rectangle, meaning it was sliced horizontally or vertically, not diagonally.
You get nothing.
I'm sorry to get so worked up, but when you play in the big leagues of Avengers breakdowns, you better be prepared to look at this shit frame by frame. So yes, while this sliced bread detail isn't really the greatest bombshell since sliced bread, there remain several other unusual inconsistencies in Nick Fury's backstory that make him a prime candidate of the secret Skrull in this Skrull search. What other Marvel character should we look at next in our Skrull search? Comment down below with your thoughts. Follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at EA Voss, and subscribe to New Rockstars for all of our Avengers theories. And if you live in the LA area, come check out my live comedy show, Darkest Timeline, where I join hilarious nerds. And I think Nick Fury's gonna show up in a night of pop culture obsession. It's every first Friday of the month, including my upcoming birthday show on April 5th, Acme Theater, North Hollywood. Ticket info in the description below. Thank you for watching, and let's hope this Skrull search wraps up soon, because a Skrull on the loose, it's a real problem. We could all end up getting Skrull f***ed. Skrull f***ed was my pitch for the name of the series. I know, it's pretty inappropriate.